that's appropriate? Do the American people deserve to be abused like that, Mr. Fauci? Because you're not doctor, you're Mr. Fauci in my few minutes.
At the House Oversight Committee, Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene tried to suspend reality.
No, I don't need your answer. I want to talk about this right here.
Mr. Chairman,
Fauci,
objection.
I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time, Mr. Raskin.
Gentlelady will suspend.
Democrat Jamie Raskin objected to the belittling of Dr. Fauci, who's an expert on infectious diseases and was a key leader in the U.S. response to COVID-19.
Mr. Chairman,
Point of order.
Just in terms of the rules of decorum, are we allowed to deny that a doctor is a doctor just because we don't want him to be a doctor?
Yes.
The question was for Republican Committee Chairman Brad Wenstrup from Ohio. But before the chair could respond, Greene interrupted again.
Because in my time, that man does not deserve to have a license. As a matter of fact, it should be revoked, and he belongs in prison.
Gentlelady will suspend. The gentlelady should recognize the doctor as a doctor.
Following that instruction from Chairman Wenstrup, California Democrat Robert Garcia raised a point of order.
Go ahead with your point of order.
You got it.
No, I mean, I was going to say what Representative Raskin said. That's completely unacceptable to be able to deny Dr. Fauci, who's here, a respected member of the medical community, his title. And that's actually a personal attack on his character.
And I have instructed her.
He's not respected.
And I've instructed her to address him as a doctor.
I'm not addressing him as doctor. Let's talk about this. I'm reclaiming my time. I'm reclaiming my time.
Words get taken down.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Second that.
Point of order.
Suspend.
All right.
A member can only move to have words. I'm sorry. The issues we are debating are important ones that members feel deeply about. And while vigorous disagreement is part of the legislative process, as I said at the beginning, members are reminded that we must adhere to established standards of decorum in debate. This is a reminder that it is a violation of House rules and the rules of this committee to engage in personalities regarding other members or to question the motives of a colleague. Remarks of that type are not permitted by the rules and are not in keeping with the best traditions of our committee. The chair will enforce these rules of decorum at all times and urges all members to be mindful of their remarks. Does the gentleman from California have anything further?
Well, we should take her words down.
Yeah, I offered that her words be taken down, Mr. Chair.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a point of order.
Mr. Griffin
they accused us of worshiping President Trump. We don't worship President Trump.
Gentlelady will suspend. Mr. Griffin, you have a point of order.
Mr. Chairman, while it may not be polite, I believe the rule only applies to members of this body, the Senate, and the President of the United States. I do not believe that it applies. The rule on taking down words does not apply to a witness.
That is Republican Morgan Griffith of Virginia.
Again, I'm not condoning the words. I'm just relating or asking whether or not it applies to individuals who are just happen to be here in front of us.
I agree. The chair overrules the point of order by the gentleman from Maryland, but asks that members please afford all other members the respect they're entitled, refrain from using rhetoric that could be construed as an attack on the motives or character of another member or the witness.
Greene then went on to use her 5 minutes of time to criticize Dr. Fauci repeatedly. She held up photos and news outlet headlines to try and hammer Fauci's reputation, and Greene tried to make an issue of Dr. Fauci's email practices.
And let's go back to your very own email. You said earlier you don't use email. Oh, you do. Right here. This is your own email where you said the typical mask you buy in the drugstore is not really effective in keeping out virus. I do not recommend that you wear a mask. This is your email. This is your own words. But yet children all over America were forced to wear masks. Healthy children forced to wear masks, muzzled in their schools. And then they were forced to learn from home because of your so-called science and your medical suggestions while you and all your cronies get paid from Big Pharma. You know what this committee should be doing? We should be recommending you to be prosecuted. We should be writing a criminal referral because you should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. You belong in prison. Dr. Fauci.
Mr. Chairman, I have another point of order.
That is Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Dingell of Michigan.
Just want to make sure the record is clear. Dr. Fauci testified that he did not use his personal email for official business. He did not say he did not use email. And I think today, this particular has been full of lies and disregard and disrespect, and we need to stick to facts.
After Congresswoman Dingell's diplomatic way of calling Greene a liar, it was then the turn of Democratic Congressman Garcia of California, and he torched Greene while addressing Dr. Fauci.
Dr. Fauci, I am so sorry you just had to sit through that. That was completely irresponsible. Quite frankly, we're hearing, this might be the most insane hearing I've actually attended. I've only been in Congress for a year and a half, but I am so sorry that you are subjected to those level of attacks and insanity. Your quote-unquote so-called science that the gentlewoman is referring to has saved millions of lives in this country and around the world, and I want to thank you for that. I also think it's important to note that, in my opinion, is that you are an American hero and your team has done more to save lives than all 435 members of this body on both sides of the aisle. You guys have worked not just during this pandemic, but over time to save millions of lives in this country and across the world. We lost 1.1 million American lives. 1.1 million American lives, 7 million lives around the world. We were having 9/11-like events, death events daily in this country, losing 4,000, 5,000 people every single day. I was mayor during the time of the pandemic. I remember how painful it was to close businesses, to shut down schools, but how quickly we forget the pain and how scared we were as a country. We were washing our groceries as they were coming in. We were keeping seniors at a distance. The tragedy that was happening in our nursing homes. Thousands of people were dying a day, and you and your team of the best and the brightest scientists in this country and the world were doing everything that you could and working night and day to save more and more of those lives. A lot of my colleagues know that my mom was a healthcare worker during the pandemic. My mom died of COVID. My stepfather died of COVID. I lost both of my parents during the pandemic. So I take this very personally, especially when other members of this body who are tasked to be responsible and to actually help the American people attack medical professionals like you and across the world.
Unfortunately, unhinged attacks are Marjorie Taylor Greene's MO, and they seem to come nearly every week. Most recently, Greene targeted federal law enforcement officers and claimed they wanted to kill Donald Trump during the raid at Mar-a-Lago. Marjorie Taylor Greene claims the Biden DOJ and FBI were planning to assassinate Trump. What are Republicans going to do about it? Greene pointed to page 11 of the Mar-a-Lago search warrant that says law enforcement officers of the Department of Justice may use deadly force when necessary. And MTG tweeted, the Biden DOJ and FBI were planning to assassinate Trump and gave the green light. CNN's Ellie Honig.
This is ridiculous. There's nothing to see here. It is, if anything, a very tight limit on when you can use lethal force. Almost never. It appears in every search warrant, every operational plan, ops plan.
But Greene also tweeted, were they going to shoot Secret Service, then President Trump, Melania, and Barron too?
There is nothing to this. The notion that there's something dangerous, wrong, I'm hesitant to even dignify the assassination talk by even mentioning it, but completely out of line.
But Greene seems oblivious to it all.
They aren't going to back off of what they are doing.
One day before her lunatic tweet, she went on Alex Jones' InfoWars show and insisted Democrats want Trump killed.
They want President Trump dead. They want to lock him up in jail for the rest of his life so that he dies in jail, and they want to take away his Secret Service protection so that he is murdered somewhere in jail, possibly.
The week before Greene's assassination nonsense, Greene tried to body shame a Democratic congresswoman.
Well, you the one talking about, I
think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order.
Mr. Chairman.
That's beneath even order.
The week before that, Greene tried and failed to dump Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson.
This Republican Party is not ready, and they proved it today. As a matter of fact, they proved they're ready to do everything with the Democrats.
This is like the congressional version of a temper tantrum.
Most of us, by the time we turn 12 years old, figure out that tantrums don't actually work, and apparently not everybody in Congress has got the memo.
Ms. Greene, all she wants is attention. and today we shut her down.
Our constituents sent us up here to make very difficult decisions and to govern, not to do a junior high school reality television program.
Greene's latest episode declaring that Dr. Anthony Fauci should be in prison did not sit well with Democrats or Republicans. Lawmakers in both parties told reporters that a new effort should be made to take away Greene's committee assignments. And one Republican lawmaker told reporters that Greene's antics are a reason some members of her own party are leaving Congress. Yes, even some Republicans don't want to be associated with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who they describe as a lunatic and an embarrassment. In fact, Greene is even worse, because thanks to her, some of Greene's constituents refused to get a vaccine and died from the COVID-19 virus. In other words, while Dr. Anthony Fauci was using science to save lives, Marjorie Taylor Greene was ridiculing science and literally ending lives. MTG. What a legacy. By the way, Marjorie Taylor Greene's political hero Donald Trump is now a convicted felon, and he just erupted and got widely ridiculed.
Donald Trump is getting even crazier, when I say crazier, I mean angrier, more unmoored from reality.
The judge could decide to say, hey, house arrest or even jail.
It could.
How do you face what that could look
I'm okay with it. That could happen. I don't know that the public would stand it. I'm not sure the public would stand for it. With a,
You're saying if you tried house arrest or
I think it would be tough for the public to take. At a certain point, there's a breaking point.
That sounded like a call for MAGA mass protests and perhaps violence like January the 6th. And what about Trump's claims of being okay with jail time?
So two things. Number one, no, he does not want to go to jail, and he's not okay with going to jail. There is nothing about his makeup that is. I understand that he feels like he has to say that because he believes in not showing any weakness. But no, he doesn't want to go to jail, and I don't know anybody who actually wants to go to jail.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Michael Zwilling, who wrote, "Lock him up, lock him up, lock him up." I hear you. I look forward to reading your comments about Marjorie Taylor Greene getting scolded to her face by House Committee Republicans. I'm David Schuster. Thanks for joining us.